All right, welcome to the Way to the Light podcast. Purveyors of faith, that is what we all are. So, I wanted to open this. My name's Brent Crossan, by the way. I just wanted to talk a little bit about the new tune that I dropped yesterday, and getting a good response. I appreciate all you guys listening to that. And I wanted to open quickly with some scripture. Psalm 77, God's past help recalled. I cried unto God with my voice, even unto God with my voice, and he gave ear unto me. In the day of my trouble I sought the Lord. My sore ran in the night, and ceased not. My soul refused to be comforted. I remembered God and was troubled. I complained, and my spirit was overwhelmed. Thou holdest mine eyes waking. I am so troubled that I cannot speak. I have considered the days of old, the years of ancient times. I call to remembrance my song in the night. I commune with mine own heart, and my spirit made diligent search. Will the Lord cast off forever? And will he be favorable no more? Is his mercy clean gone forever? Doth his promise fail forevermore? Hath God gotten to be gracious? Hath he in anger shut up his tender mercies? And I said, This is my infirmity, but I will remember the years of the right hand of the Most High. I will remember the works of the Lord. Surely I will remember thy wonders of old. I will meditate also of all thy work, and talk of thy doings. Thy way, O God, is the sanctuary. Who is so great a God as our God? Thou art the God that doest wonders. Thou hast declared thy strength among the people. Thou hast with thine arm redeemed thy people, the sons of Jacob and Joseph. The waters saw thee, O God, the waters saw thee, they were afraid. The depths also were troubled. The clouds poured out water, the skies sent out a sound. Thine arrows also went abroad. The voice of thy thunder was in the heaven. The lightnings lightened the world. The earth trembled and shook. Thy way is in the sea, and thy path in the great waters, and thy footsteps are not known. Thou leddest thy people like a flock by the hand of Moses and Aaron. That being said, it's one of my favorite verses. But I want to get into the story of how Note from God was created. And and I put this in the initial post, and when you share links on Facebook, nobody ever looks at them. You can post 4 links, you can post 3 links. Every time I see somebody posting a link, I don't really look at it. I don't really get a response until the next day when I say blah, 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 and I post a link inside of the post. So why didn't I just do that from the beginning? I don't know. You just learn and learn and learn all the time. Anyway, so this song is totally out of my league. I'm thankful for the chance to be able to sing something like that. And it's really just one of those things where it's like, I'm a rock and roller. I grew up writing heavy metal and rock and roll and hard rock tunes and acoustic tunes and things to chill to and all that kind of stuff. And I sang in minor keys. I didn't sing in major anything. I didn't even know what it was. When I first met Vicky Carver and Rhonda Tyson, they both sang in major keys. They sang gospel very well, and I I was just kind of terrified of it because I didn't know where to start. Even though I know my notes very well, I just have not trained myself to sing that way. So I grew up, riding around in a maroon Pontiac 6000 with a CD player plugged into the auxiliary port of a radio that was secondhand in there. And, I would sing to, Alice in Chains, Facelift. I would wear that CD out. I sang that CD. I wouldn't call it sang at all, but until Dirt came out, and then, I started singing that and took on that type of inflection to my voice by trying to match it and learn how to sing. Anyways, that led to, decades of singing rock and metal and whatever I could. And so when we were approaching Note from God, it came about as, I was walking in the studio, and it's like one of these old stories, you walk in the studio and Ty is sitting there playing something on the piano that he came up with, and it sounded really good. And what always sounds really good to me is A minor, G, and F. And who knows how many songs we have that do that. And I don't try to pigeonhole melodies when they're all different. Most of metal is played in E and D standard, and now B, but and that's where they stay. And so A minor has become kind of our thing. And I just talked about singing majors, and I'm sitting here talking about a minor key, but this thing switches to C major. And it was a, wild thing there. So Ty has this piano part, right? And he's tinkling it out, and I was like, dude, man, I could come up with something. And I was just kind of humming along to it, and he was like, yeah. And all this time, he had lyrics he was building for this tune, right? And I said, man, I'm really feeling something. I'd really love to write something to this thing. And, he was like, well, man, he was trying to, I could tell he was reluctant because the piano part was important to him, and he doesn't write on piano very much, even though it came out very well. He's not a piano player per se. He plays what he writes, and I respect that. So he's like, man, I just want it to be about, I feel like a lot of hope in that riff, that piano riff here, a lot of hope and, faith and just goodness, towards God. And that's just what I'm feeling. And, to myself, I was like, golly, man, that's so kind of generic. I was like, how many songs out there, and they're not even gospel songs, are about faith, hope, and love. And, but I didn't say that to him, of course. I'm just like, dude, yeah, man, I'll do the best I can. I'll go home and, listen to this thing and listen to it while I drive and, see what I can come up with. And, I'd listen to it at the house. I'd listen to it while I was walking and couldn't really come up with anything and was having trouble. And about a week later, I was headed to Avenger to work on a freezer. And I didn't even have the song playing. I didn't have to play it anymore. I knew how it went. When you're a musician and you hear these things in your head all the time, once you grasp how a tune's going to go, you can just kind of go, it plays over and over in your head. So I'm just driving along and thinking about the tune and, of course, thinking about my next job. And, it's like something just pops in my head and says, pull over. I'm like, pull over for what? I got to be there in 10 minutes. It's like, pull over. We got the lyrics for this thing. And I just kind of pulled over. And this was back when, I didn't know to pray before every time I tried to write something spiritual and anything like that. It just came into my head. And And it was just like so direct and simple. And it was just like, I move the mountains, I calm the sea, I heal the blind, and I cure disease. And I was like, well, hey, it's like, with hope that one day you'll find the courage to believe. I'm like, dude, what in the world, man? It just like sent chills down my spine. And it's just kind of like when you read something else. Let me flip over here. Like in the New Testament somewhere where Jesus is talking and, he doesn't beat around the bush. It's very direct. You know not what manner of your spirit is of you. For the Son of Man is not come to destroy men's lives, but to save them. I mean, how direct is that? Let these sayings sink down into your ears, for the Son of Man shall be delivered into the hands of men. That's what Jesus said, okay? St. Luke, okay? Chapter 9, 44. And that's how these lyrics came to me, man. It was just like, I didn't know what to think, man. By the time I got through the first verse, I just wrote the chorus again after that. I was like, man, this needs to be repeated. This chorus needs to hit, at least 2 or 3 times, 4 times maybe in this song, man, because that's such a direct message. So I just kind of put that second chorus down. I drove and called my wife or texted my wife, or I can't remember if I called her. I said, man, I just got these amazing lyrics. I had to pull over. It was the strangest thing, and these lyrics just come out. I don't write stuff like this. And she's like, Brent, it's okay. You're just on fire, right now, and goodness gracious, you're about to wear me out. I was like, okay. And I went on, I did my job, right? And got done, came back from Avenger, got through Linden. On my way back from Linden, almost to New Colony, right there in that space between Linden and New Colony. And I pulled over again, and there came the second verse. Just boom. And I said, I'm just going to hit that chorus one more time, because I opened with the chorus after the first verse, chorus after the second verse. And I felt drained. I don't know if, there's a lot of pastors out there. I think my pastor said something like this before, but when you have something like that come through you, I'm not talking about a seance or some possession or something like that, but it is kind of like that in a way. It drains you. You're tired. You got a headache. I mean, it just like floors you. And I took it to, I was so excited, I took it to rehearsal that night, and this was back, we were practicing 2 or 3 times a week before Ty went on crazy swing shift job. And man, I showed him what I had, and him and Brad was just sitting on the couch or standing up behind him, and I was standing right next to him while he played that piano part, and I started singing these words, man, and it was just setting right in there, man. And we got to the end of that. I said, man, can we do something? This first chorus comes in, and then I sing the first verse. I would like to, can we go to play a C right there and see what happens? Man, he hit the C, changed keys, and walked back up the scale. That intro is A minor, G, and F, and back and forth. A minor, G, F, G, A minor, back and forth till you get through the first chorus and the first verse. Well, we hit that C. There's a turnaround right there. There's a D and a E. After these in between these sections, to kind of split them up. Man, we hit that C note and started walking up. C, E, F, G, C, and over again. And man, it just really, really, really hit good, and so we decided to do that twice, once after the first verse, once after the second verse. And I was out. I was like drained, and Ty was like, well, I got some lyrics for this that I wrote out if you just want to look at them. And I was thinking to myself, I don't know. Let me take a look. And the lyrics switched to third person, to where Jesus isn't talking anymore, but we're praising him. And I thought, man, how cool would that be? It's almost like a 2-part song, and that chorus hits twice in a row. And by the end of that song, man, 5 minutes into this thing, you get through singing this sucker right here, and you're just like drained. Not because it's not an easy song to sing. I've sang it enough to where I can do it now, but it's like, Lord have mercy, you get through that and you're spiritually drained. And man, that's basically the story. And when we start putting this thing together, we had the piano and we had the vocals, and it sounded so cool. Not to, toot our own horns or anything, but we were elated that it came out great. And I was like, man, I'm hearing some strings, man. I'm hearing strings. I don't want to overproduce this thing, but I'm hearing synth, like strings in there. So I said, let's do a separate synth track. So Ty hops back on the piano and starts kind of going through his stuff, and man, he lays it in there. Perfect, dude. There's swells in there that I still think we can't live without. So all that existed. We didn't have a bass part at all. All we had was piano, synth. Brad comes out, and nobody has any idea where to put any drums into this thing. It's unconventional. It's basically a worship tune for us while we're playing it for us. We didn't design it to be a worship song for a congregation or anybody else, because that's not how we write stuff. So basically, while we're playing this thing, we're worshiping because we're getting to say these words that God had us say. If that makes any sense. And it's a message for everybody else that's listening to it. So we're just the mailmen, pretty much, to quote my pastor. And that's Daryl Littleton, by the way. Trinity Church, Atlanta, Texas. Little plug right there. That's because that's where I'm at while I'm talking to you. So anyway, Brad's like, man, I don't know what to do. We were out there, 2, 3, 4 hours messing around, and finally, me and Ty, with frustration, Brad was just like, y'all tell me what y'all hear. So that's what we did. And I was like, man, I hear these big toms, right here, like and I hear mostly tom and percussion work, and, Brad was able to, work a beat in there. Now, I wouldn't even call that a beat. I guess it kind of is. It's nothing you can just kind of bob your head to on the second verse. But that's about the only beat, and then you go into these rhythms, with the toms and, a kick and a crash. Sometimes, I don't know where, to emphasize words, whatever he was feeling. And got that down. And it stayed that way for 2 or 3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks. And we were on to something else. And all of a sudden one day, Ty calls me up while I'm at work. And we were working on this other song, this secular tune we had called Open Door. And Ty had been listening to that for whatever reason. And he called me and he said, man, the bass line to Open Door makes that tune. Can we have something like that for Note from God? And I was like, well, I don't see why not. It's just a, 5-string right there. So anyway, I was able to get the bass out there, and it usually takes me about an hour and a half. I like to write on the spot and then go back and learn my stuff. I'm not playing off the cuff. I am for a little while until I figure out what I want to do. And then I do that for about an hour and a half, playing off the cuff. And then I'll go back and say, okay, I got my line, and I lay it down. And that'll take me about 3 takes or so to get that. Didn't on this song, but in general on other tunes. Anyway, man, we got that down, and the ladies at the time, we were jamming with Rhonda Tyson and Terry McCaslin, and they were trying some backups and spots, and it seemed they felt like it took away from the impact, and ultimately that's the way we went. No backup vocals, just a straight message. And man, I'll tell you what, it was a really, really crazy experience once we had it done. So we got that recorded, all done. I was so engrossed with that tune that after I got all the editing done, I had to step away from it for a few months, actually. And I recorded songs for Trinity. I recorded an EP for them, for Kaylee Littleton, and did some other things for a male lady in Ida, like Amazing Grace, and we did some other stuff. And over the holidays, I was able to purchase some real professional mastering software, and better than what we had when we were releasing stuff here and there, like old hymns that we had, the renditions we did, Old Rugged Cross, I Saw the Light, things like that. And man, I put it on Note from God, and it just changed it from one level to another, from sounding like a song we recorded at Lazy Gator to a movie soundtrack sounding, you know what I mean? And I'm not trying to say that it's, that's the most grand scale thing we've ever done. And I think it sounds wonderful. And it's not because, I did go in there and tweak things like I always do, but I mean, I was able to get it where I wanted it. And man, I uploaded that thing. Lots of people have contacted me about it, saying it touched them in a certain way, and man, I don't even know what to say. Thankful that I was able. I guess I don't think I'm worthy at all to have delivered that kind of message, but it made it to where I could. I sang it differently than any other song I sing, and all of a sudden, we got the radio guy that hollered at me on Facebook today. So we got him to the tune. Hopefully they're going to start playing it there, and just kind of see where this thing goes. If you're at a church and, you would like for me and Ty to, perform that song, sometime for you. And, if you're a church that has drums and we can do, the drum version, man, we'd be glad to do that. And be honored. You just let us know, a couple of weeks ahead, a couple of weeks out, so we can get our schedules right. And but anyway, so grateful, thankful to be able to deliver that kind of message. And I want to recite St. Luke chapter 9, verse 44 one more time before I get off this thing. Let these sayings sink down into your ears, for the Son of Man shall be delivered into the hands of men. Wow. Thank you for listening. And like I said, my name's Brent Crossan, Way to the Light podcast. Probably going to upload this to the Crossing Cast thing as well. Hopefully I'll have some guests next time. I started this initially as a test to test some signals. So, man, hope you enjoyed listening to me chatter. Till next time.